You're listening to North Manchester FM. This is Hannah's Bookshelf, and it is a pick and mix show today. Massive thanks to my guest Jill James there. It was lovely to catch up with Jill again after a couple of years, few years. I love having people back on the show to catch up with them. It's always interesting to hear what they've been doing since the last time we spoke. It's time for a different bit of pick and mix now. That's the whole point of pick and mix, isn't it? That it's all different. Because it's time for me to hand over the reins. I've got three fantastic writers, all old friends of Hannah's Bookshelf, have popped back to talk to me about what they've been reading recently. Because that's right, it is time for this week's What Are You Reading? As always, I've had a little sneak preview of the books, and whoa, we've got such an eclectic mix from three people who have you've heard from before on What Are You Reading. They are regular contributors, so I am delighted to welcome back Tony Harrison, Kevin McGeary, and Catherine Horrocks today for promises to be a very, very eclectic What Are You Reading? Catherine Horrocks, we're going to start with. Catherine is a poet and the author of the fantastic debut collection, Growlery, which is out from Carcanet Press. You should check that out. It's a fantastic debut. It's the sort of debut collection that just makes you really, really jealous because you feel like, oh, the talent. That, by way of introduction to my first guest on today's What Are You Reading? What are you reading?
Brown.
Hi, I'm Kevin McGeary, Manchester-based author, linguist and musician. And with Europe possibly on the brink of war and there even being a mention of bringing back the draft, I recently dusted off my old copy of All Quiet on the Western Front by Eric Maria Remarque. And here are some passages that jumped out at me from the Brian Murdoch translation of 1994. So near the beginning, when the protagonist Paul is visiting his friend Kemerick in hospital. So here we go. There in the bed is our pal Kemerick, who was frying horse meat with us not long ago and squatting with us in a shell hole. It's still him, but it isn't really him anymore. His image has faded, become blurred, like a photographic plate that's had too many copies made from it. Even his voice sounds like ashes. I remember the day when we were drafted out. His mother, a pleasant, stout woman, saw him off at the station. She was crying at the time, and her face was puffy and swollen. This embarrassed Kemerick, because she was the least composed of all of them, practically dissolving in fat and tears. What's more, she picked me out and kept grabbing my arm and begging me to keep an eye on France when we got out there. As it happens, he did have a very young face, and his bones were so soft that after just a month of carrying a pack, he got flat feet. But how can you keep an eye on someone on a battlefield? Kemerick nods. I can't look at his hands. They are like wax. The dirt of the trenches is underneath his fingernails, and it is bluey grey like poison. It occurs to me that those fingernails will go on getting longer and longer for a good while yet, like some ghastly underground growths, long after Kemerick has stopped breathing. I can see them before my eyes, twisting like corkscrews, and growing, and with them the hair on his caved-in skull, like grass on good earth, just like grass. How can all that be? And later on in the novel, when Paul is back home from the front and visiting Kemerick's mother. And this really underlines how so many of the soldiers felt more camaraderie with their enemies than with their friends and family back home. So, I remember that I have to go and see Kemerick's mother. I could visit Mittelstadt as well. He must be at the barracks. I look out of the window. Behind the sunny street scene, you can see the line of the hills, indistinct and pale, and it merges into a bright autumn day, and I'm sitting by a fire eating baked potatoes in their jackets. But I don't want to think about that, and I push the thought away. Let the room speak. Let it take me up and carry me along. I want to feel that I belong here, and I want to listen, so that when I have to go back to the front, I shall know this. The war will sink and drown when the wave of our homecoming sweeps across it. The war will be over. It will not devour us. It has no real power over us. Its hold on us is only a superficial one. And at the same time, I dusted off my Oxford Book of War poetry, which is edited by John Stallworthy and was published, I think, in 1984. And this poem by the Englishman Ivor Gurney, who is a lot less famous than, say, Wilfred Owen or Siegfried Sassoon, but this is a really powerful one of just 4 stanzas. It's called To His Love. He's gone, and all our plans are useless indeed. We'll walk no more on Cotswold, where the sheep feed quietly and take no heed. His body that was so quick is not as you knew it on Severn River, under the blue driving our small boat through. You would not know him now, but still he died nobly. So cover him over with violets of pride purple from Severn-side. Cover him soon, and with thick-set masses of memoried flowers, hide that red wet thing I must somehow forget. So, hopefully, the situation will be as unlike 1914 as possible, but this great literature survives to remind us of what could happen.